Bet you wonder why I just knocked myself out. Maybe I'm trying to make a metaphoric point about companies and the internal battles that put them at disadvantage when trading internationally. Now, I just think it's a cool way to segue into a story about the Karate Kid. For years, Sony Pictures considered and decided against updating the Karate Kid. It's 1984 film about a bro-beating kid and an enigmatic martial arts coach who teaches the boy to believe in himself, starring Ralph Macchio and Noriyaku Pat Morita. The studio had pretty much beaten the franchise into submission with the third sequel. 1994 is the next Karate Kid, featuring 19-year-old Hilary Swank, marking a serious commercial and critical low point with a domestic gross of $8.9 million and a 6 out of 100% rating on RottenTomatoes.com. President of Sony's Columbia Pictures, Doug Belgrade, stated about the film, "This is a valuable property. You better have the right idea or it's not worth doing." So even when Overbrook Entertainment, the production company for Sony's biggest star, Will Smith, pitched Sony on the Karate Kid remake, featuring Smith's 11-year-old son Jaden, his co-star in The Pursuit of Happiness, playing the Machio role, the studio passed. Finally, just as Beijing was about to host 2008 Summer Olympics, Overbrook altered his pitch. What if the new version was set in China? That was enough to say yes, says Belgrade, who had long been fascinated by the country. With more than 1.3 billion residents, China is both the world's most populous nation and one of Hollywood's biggest challenges, with borders to entry almost as tall as the Great Wall. It can be one of the biggest grossing countries outside the United States for certain films, even though DVD piracy is rampant and there aren't a lot of theaters. Chinese box office returns surged more than 40% to above $900 million in 2009. The Karate Kid decision not only launched the biggest modern movie co-production between an American studio and a Chinese studio, it also opened up the film to government-mandated creative controls that ultimately yielded two slightly different movies. Government-censored acts that several scenes, including sequences of bullying and a kiss between two young characters, be trimmed for the Chinese version. Although the production was granted vital access to an array of spectacular Chinese locations, including the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, Wudang Mountain, the filmmakers also had to negotiate sometimes Byzantine permitting rules. To film a movie in Los Angeles, the locals would grudgingly get out the way. Not so in Beijing. The people run the country, says James Lasseter, Overbrook's president and the Karate Kid producer. So if the people didn't want you shooting in the neighborhood, there's no authority that can tell them they have to. That's why it's called the People's Republic of China. The filmmakers who hired a number of Chinese crew members said the production inconveniences were minor and the creative conversation with partner China Film Group Corporation easily resolved. As part of Sony's deal, the government-run movie company invested about $5 million into the film's $40 million budget, retaining distribution rights in China. Director Harold Swart says he never felt there was any government pressure to steer the movie in a certain political direction, even though it depicted working-class communities as a little bit ramshackle. There was never any question of don't show this and don't show that, says Ward, who personally made the edits for the Chinese version, clipping the chase smooth scene between Smith's Dre Parker and his girlfriend Mei Ying. By setting in the Karate Kid in modern-day China, the filmmakers were able to magnify the original film's fish-out-of-water plot. In the original film, Machio played a New Jersey teen who relocated with a single mother to Los Angeles. In the new story, Smith's Dre and his mother, played by Taraji P. Henson, leave Detroit for Beijing when she changes jobs. Soon after arriving, Dre is confronted by a band of local bullies. Determined to fight back, Dre enlists Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan, a mysterious maintenance man who teaches him the Chinese martial art of Kung Fu. Dre spends more time with Mr. Han, who ultimately becomes the boy's surrogate father. The Karate Kid is among the studio's highest-tested movies ever and opened #1 at the box office upon release, earning $55.7 million and beating the other 1980s remake, The A-Team. Equally important, the production of Sony and Overbrook that filming in China can be rewarding.